it's a theme we're starting to see more and more. When we were kids, we'd go to the zoo. You might have one albino snake, maybe an albino zebra, and that was about it. There wasn't really a large number of albino animals as I remember growing up. I don't know about you guys.
I'm seeing more and more white animals appearing in the wild.
Open discussion here, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
This is the white buffalo. What is the importance here, Miss Cynthia?
Gosh, I want to take this one away because look behind me. You can see this picture that's always here behind me when I do most of these videos. That is White Buffalo Calf Maiden. It's a reprint of an original painting done by Ruby Lee Long, a great artist who I know personally. And this is a very meaningful picture for me because if you look at the picture, you can see it's this beckoning kind of maybe it's hard to see, but it's a beckoning, inviting expression on the white buffalo calf maiden. And she is extremely important to the Native American populations, especially the legend of the Lakota Sioux, which tells of this maiden having come down to earth like out of the clouds, and she met two braves. One was not very respectful, was basically doing, hey, baby, baby, talking not respectfully. And the other one was very respectful. The one that was less respectful ended up in a cloud of smoke, and then all that was left were a pile of bones. The respectful one invited the white buffalo calf maiden back to the village and the chief and the peoples, and she shared with them the 7 ways to pray and speak again with spirit, because that had been lost at that point in time. One of the many things she brought was the peace pipe. And then as she left, she had a spectacular exit as well. She became first, transformed herself into a black buffalo, and then a yellow buffalo, then a red buffalo, and finally a white buffalo, which is extremely symbolic, representing all of the people of the earth, and also symbolizing that she would return. There would be a golden age returning to all of humanity when we start seeing the white buffalo return. So here we have, just last month, yet another one of these very rare white buffalo. They used to be considered 1 in 10 million, but we've had several of these white buffalo now over the last decade or so, since the Mandela Effect has become so much more popular and more people are becoming aware of it.
So we've seen a rise in these white buffalo being born. Then you say, how many is this since the last decade? No?
I don't know, but there have been a lot of them. They started more than 10 years ago, I think, or maybe about 10 years ago, right about the time when the Mandela Effect community was really coming forward, right about the time we started hearing about the Mandela Effect. When the term became popular, I think that was coincidental with the first white buffalo. So to me, they're very related phenomena.
Albino kangaroos, ladies and gentlemen. Extremely rare. 1 out of 100,000 are born white. They're bred in the Wildlife Sanctuary of Australia, and out of 50 million, only 500 are white.
I just didn't have any idea that there were 50 million kangaroos in Australia. That's a lot of kangaroos.
As our resident scientist, is there a reason why they're losing the melanin, the color in their bodies? Like, what does that tie into?
Well, that would get into biology, and I don't know the answer to that question, but it's a good one. From a paranormal metaphysical standpoint, we would say there's a changing of the frequencies and the vibration. That's not quantum physics talk. That's more metaphysics.
That makes sense, though, that vibration affects color,
Yes.
or affects what our eyes see as color.
Or it could be symbolic as a sign of cleansing and clearing the energies, and fresh starting white, starting pure.
Purity.
Coming up on the age, or as the age we've entered into being the age of Aquarius, the age of knowing, pure knowing. It very well could be connected to that fresh start, that new age that is starting from the white, moving maybe perhaps to a color scheme. Next up, we have white buck.
This picture was actually taken from someone in Wisconsin from their backyard. So they were in their backyard and they saw this white buck approach, and they had to take a picture. And it's very, very rare. And doing some research in it, I found that in Wisconsin, where this one showed up, it's actually illegal to kill an all-white deer. So This guy should be protected from hunters, you would imagine. A lot of the white animals are what's considered super protectors. So like in one of the fringe videos I made, I talked about the white giraffe was like a super protector of the galaxy, and the white rhino is a super protector of time and space. You know, regardless of how you look at it, are really, really a positive thing to be showing up in the timeline, because I've never seen so many white animals appearing as there are now. Casper.
Okay, guys, I've never seen a white dolphin. Have any of you guys ever seen a white dolphin?
I thought it was a beluga when I first looked at it. It just, you know, that's pure white.
That's what my first impression was too, because you expect belugas, but I've never seen a white dolphin.
And this particular dolphin made its first appearance in, I think, 2017 in Monterey Bay. So, but again, I never heard of it until just recently. It just came into my reality.
That's what I was thinking too. Yeah, we should have heard of it a few years ago. It would have been a big deal. I live in California. I didn't hear about it.
Well, here's the thing. Didn't we had a time when these pink dolphins came out?
That's what I
remember that.
Yes, yes.
There's some kind of a river dolphin, right?
That's
in South America, Shane?
You would think we would have noticed it then, though. That's, you know, it's kind of like when I looked into the Rainbow Mountains, it was in one place, and then I went to show somebody a month later, and it's like in 3 locations. I'm like, wait a minute, it was just in China a month ago. How did they pop up elsewhere? That's so crazy.
And for people who are new to the Mandela Effect, this is a typical classic move with the Mandela Effect, where suddenly something has been there for, in this case, yeah, like 5 years or 6 years. But for a lot of us, we've never seen this before.
Oh my goodness, what is this?
We all want one today.
So cute.
I know people who would have this as a pet, okay?
Yeah, it says giving birth to an albino offspring for a squirrel is 1 in 100,000. I've never seen them at all. I never heard of a white squirrel.
Yeah, I grew up in St. Louis and lived here in Tulsa, and I've lived everywhere I've lived. There's been tons of squirrels. Never seen a white one.
I've never seen a white one. I've never even seen a picture. This is the first picture I've seen.
I've heard of a polar bear. So we're not talking a polar bear in this instance, are we?
No, we're not.
Looks like one though, doesn't it? A little fatter, not as long.
So what kind of bear is this?
The actual name of it is, it's a type of kermode bear. This one was discovered in the Great Bear Rainforest of British Columbia. And they are not albino. They actually have a single mutant gene that makes them all white, which is very interesting.
How long?
Never heard of them.
I've never heard of this either. I've been to British Columbia and I love animals, but I never heard about this. So is it a species then, or?
Yeah, the way I found it is if you just go into Google and type in kermode bear, and then this will come up. And they're also called the spirit bear or the ghost bear by certain Native American tribes.
I don't understand a white bear in the rainforest. Can someone explain to me how the white camouflages against this green background? I'm just a little bit on the really confused side.
You make an excellent point. Yeah, it doesn't seem like it would have been advantageous to the species to evolve in such a direction, or, you know, it doesn't make a lot of sense.
And they're not albino. You said that this is a regular species to do a gene variant. What an odd nature gene variant.
Yes.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we've got a cougar here, also known as pumas or mountain lions, which I have locally to me. We actually had a mountain lion issue a couple years ago, very locally, and had to put signs and everything else up that these were around. Discovered in a national park in southeastern Brazil, I present to you the white cougar of Brazil.
It's beautiful.
Totally a spirit cougar.
Would any of you go and try to pet it or anything?
Tempted, but look, it doesn't have pink eyes, does it? So this whiteness of animals is not necessarily albino or albino, because the eyes aren't pink, right?
Exactly.
With all these different animals across the board, from Brazil to the Americas to Asia and Europe and Canada, and so this isn't a regional issue, then, is it? This is global, right?
Absolutely.
Migaloo. Have you guys ever heard of Migaloo? Migaloo is the white humpback whale. Spotted in 1991 in the Australia waters, she is the most famous of all humpback whales in the world. The problem is, I don't know about you three, but I've never heard of Migaloo.
It's a male, by the way. He has fathered some calves. I feel like I would have heard of a great white whale. It's so much like Moby Dick, you know. You would think that there'd be all kinds of references and people saying it's a different species or it's the same, but I didn't hear anything about them. So it's quite remarkable.
Yeah, and I'll just add to that too. One of the things that I've tuned into about Migaloo, and I talk about this in my Fringe videos, is a lot of these albino whales, like anything that's white, usually is some kind of protector, like the white cougar of Brazil. When I read into it, it's like a protector of Brazil. And Migaloo seems to be a protector of the galaxy. And to go one step further with this Fringe stuff that I'll talk about, when Migaloo is spotted or revealed, it usually means there'll be a revealing of truths. And now that this Migaloo and two calves, that's a lot of truths that might be revealed in the future. So just something for people to keep an eye on as we go forward in time.
To pass along albinism, is that kind of rare?
It's definitely rare in the animal world. And for some people, Migaloo may not be a Mandela effect. Someone might say, oh, I've known about Migaloo for years. But his two white calves might be a Mandela effect. One of them is named MJ, which stands for Migaloo Jr. I don't know why they haven't named the other one yet, but overall, it's really, really interesting what's going on with these white animals that are being, spotted, quite frequently.
The white albino owl. So tell us about this one, guys.
Well, what I can say about this one is that it looks fake, doesn't it? You look at it and like, that can't be a real white owl. That's got to be
a toy.
Yeah, it's got to be mechanical or something. But you can actually watch videos of it. It's a real thing.
Do you guys find that to be cute or kind of creepy or what? How do you feel?
Kind of both. A little cute.
Yeah, a little of both.
I second that. Yes, absolutely. Like I said, it looks like a toy. It looks like something you wind up or turn on the bottom of the cage and it would sit there and bounce or something, The white peacock. Okay, I always have seen peacocks. They're like multicolored feathers, black bodies, and then you got the yellows and the reds. Beautiful colors on peacocks. I haven't seen a lot of white peacocks.
And this fits that theme that we've been noticing, that I think Chris first brought it up for all of us to take a look at this golden timeline concept and these white animals. And here we are witnessing something extraordinary. And apparently, if I'm not mistaken, there are somehow crystals embedded somehow in the feathers of this beautiful animal. It almost looks unreal, and I've certainly never heard of it before. So this is how it qualifies for me as a Mandela effect, because I think if there were white peacocks, it would be in fairy tales, books, movies, but I've never even seen it until this week.
And this isn't an albino, it says here, and in the light it sparkles, crystals. Wow, that's amazing.
I've never heard of a creature with crystals as part of the creature.
Yeah.
This is something I think that would have stood out. This is something I'd have made a big deal about. A creature that is crossed over with a crystalline structure like that.
And I always remember the peacocks when I go to the zoo because of how colorful they were. And if there was a white one with sparkles in its feathers, I would have definitely remembered it. But maybe our zoo didn't have one, but I certainly have never heard of this.
And that's the kind of thing you'd expect at like a royal wedding, something like that.
Right, you would think that would be painted or some kind of specially made creation, if you will, like spray painted again or something. But that is all natural and crystals in the feathers.
I'm still getting over the fact to seeing groups of peacocks in flight, all flying together, because to me that was a Mandela effect. They could never actually fly. They just kind of strutted their stuff. So,
right. Yeah, peacocks were one of the few birds that could not fly. At least not long distances.
Like penguins and peacocks, yeah, that's what I remember. So now they fly? How far are they flying now? That's new.
I don't know their distance, but it's pretty amazing that they can fly. And now there's some white ones out there too.
This is really a white raven. Of course, we know ravens are normally black. And there used to be this saying, it only takes one white crow to prove that all crows are black, right? It goes to the idea of evidence, and it really goes deep. But it only takes one white raven to prove all ravens aren't black. This is crazy. I've never heard of a white, and it's not albino.
They have blue eyes.
So that can, and this is something else we're finding in a lot of these white creatures, is they're having these blue eyes. I've seen this theme coming across the last couple of months myself.
Yeah, and is it a Mandela effect for anyone else that ravens can actually imitate human speech? I mean, I personally don't remember that.
That's new for me too. I remember they just would say "ka," basically. It wouldn't sound like words. There'd be no way it would sound like words. But it seems like more and more animals are sounding like they can impersonate people. There's definitely a huge, I don't remember that.
And they're very intelligent, these ravens. Of course, I've heard of ravens being an intelligent species, but not on the scale of dolphins and chimpanzees. Playful and can imitate human speech. Of course, we've talked about that. But I don't know about smart to the level of dolphins and chimpanzees. I have heard that they can remember, like crows, like remember a person's face.
This is very interesting.
Wow, look at this one.
I remember like when I was first like noticing the Mandela effects, there were tons of rainbow Mandela effects, like the Grand Prismatic Spring in Yellowstone Park, and like all these rainbow stuff, rainbow trees. And they're all still there, and now we're seeing a proliferation of white animals and plants. And this one was really cool. Alba, an orangutan. She's white, she's blue eyes, she's adorable.
Yes. And you said blue eyes, right? So this is not your typical albinism, like an albino with the red eyes and the lack of pigmentation.
Exactly. And it was interesting because they found her because there were villagers that found the white orangutan and was thought of to be something sacred. And so the orangutan rescue people found out what was going on. They went there and they rescued her. She had like parasites. She wasn't really doing well at all. They nursed her back to health. I think it took at least 2 or 3 years. And then they released her again.
This is Iceberg, the white orca. So we're still with the white animals. I love the statistics here. 1 in 10,000 orcas are white. And this was spotted off of a Russian island. And believed to be, I don't know how they calculate this, but someone's guessed it's about 22 years old. And it's the most famous orca, which reminds us that we featured Migaloo, the white humpback whale, recently.
I know for myself, it wasn't until like maybe 2 weeks ago that I came across Iceberg, because we're finding patterns where if an animal is of a white color, they usually are a super protector of something. Iceberg, the orca, is considered a bounty hunter. Now, what that means is a bounty hunter to get your gifts back. So the concept is that when we're born, we have like these gifts that we have, these abilities. And for many of us, we have no idea. It's almost like we were given gifts at Christmas and they're still sitting under the Christmas tree. They go unopened. But then there are those that go, in another higher dimension that look for these types of gifts and they'll take them. So what's really cool about Iceberg is that you can like communicate with her, and if you can do trade or commerce, she can help get you your gifts back. And I thought that was a really interesting, I'm like, wow, I never thought about that. But it just gives people something else to think about for this crazy thing we call reality, right?
That's awesome.
Yeah. Aziza.
Really cool.
Welcome, Aziza. Looks like a Pokemon. I'm kidding. Rare white rhino born 9/22/21, World Rhinoceros Day at Lyon County Safari. Aziza is a female southern white calf. Any birth is really so exciting, but the fact that it happened on World Rhino Day really did make it so much more special. Especially because it's been bringing awareness and helping to conserve these species, says Haley Passer, a Lyon County Safari spokesperson.
Yeah, I was going to add too that I made a video about the southern white rhino, which there's only like 2 left in the world right now. They're like basically functionally extinct. This particular one, the southern whites are much more plentiful, thank goodness. The northern whites are the ones that are, in danger. But, my hope is that we can, again, our frequency increases to a certain point where we never have this type of situation with the northern white rhinos. Yeah, because they're special. They have their DNA is it's a little different from the southern white rhino. So, and I know Earth views them as being very special as well. So But anytime there's a white rhino born, no matter where it's from, it's an amazing, it's a beautiful thing.